I welcome you all for Standard 9th subject Science and Technology Part 2. Students, we will be starting with chapter number 17, Introduction to Biotechnology Module 1. My name is Ms. Jagjeet Kaur. So students, before beginning with the module, let's see what are the learning objectives. So in this video, you all will be learning about tissue. Then you will be learning about types of tissue and the difference between plant tissue and animal tissue. And then you will be learning about the types of animal tissue, and under types of animal tissue, we will be learning about epithelial tissue and connective tissue. Now students, can you recall which components bring about important processes in the living organisms? Yes. All the important processes in the living organisms are brought about by cells and tissues. Now, can you tell that which is the smallest structural and functional unit of the body of living organisms? Correct. The smallest structural and functional unit of the body of living organisms is a cell. Now, students, let's learn about tissue. Now, what is tissue? So, before that, we will just recall about unicellular and multicellular organisms. Now, in unicellular organisms, all the necessary functions are carried out by a single cell. For example, in amoeba, all the cellular functions are performed by the cell organelles in the body. Then in multicellular animals, the cells performing similar functions come together in groups and form tissues. Now, what is a tissue? A group of cells having the same origin, same structure, and same function is called tissue. And every tissue performs a particular task. And due to the specific organization of cells and their division of work, the functions of the body are done with great efficiency. For example, muscular tissue has the ability to undergo contraction and relaxation and thereby help in the locomotion. The conducting tissue in the plants brings about transport of food and water. Now students, let's learn about the types of tissues. Now there are two types of tissues, that is simple tissue and complex tissue. Now simple tissue is made up of only one type of cells. Example, epithelial tissue of animals, meristematic tissue of plants. And the complex tissue is made up of more than one type of cells. For example, blood of animals and xylem and phloem of plants. Now students, think and try to answer this question. The question is, are the structure and functions of the bodies of plants and animals the same? Correct. There is a great difference between plants and animals with respect to structure and functions. Plants are sedentary and their growth takes place only in certain limited area, and they do not have nervous system. On the contrary, animals move from place to place in search of food, water, etc. And therefore, they need more energy. And the growth in their body is uniform throughout the body. They have different systems to carry out different functions. Students, now let's understand the difference between plant tissue and animal tissue. In plant tissue, supporting tissue is required so that plant can remain steady and sedentary. Whereas in animal tissue, Supporting tissues are not required as animals are moving from one place to another. In plant tissue, tissues consisting of dead cells, and in animal tissues, tissues are consisting of only live cells. And in plant tissue, the dividing tissue is located only at specific places in the body, and in animal tissue, the entire body grows, and hence there is no distinction between dividing and non-dividing cells. Students, can you think that why can we not see our organs like the heart, blood vessels and intestines? Correct. The organs like heart, blood vessels and intestines are internally located in the body and hence they cannot be seen. Now students, let's learn about animal tissue. Now in the body of animal, different organs come together to perform a specific function. And organs like the lungs and trachea, with the help of the contraction and relaxation of some muscles, bring about the function of respiration. And different tissues perform different functions in the organs. Accordingly, tissues are classified into different types. And there are four main types of animal tissues, namely epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. Students, now let's understand about epithelial tissue, which is a type of animal tissue. Now, epithelial tissues form the protective covering in the animal bodies, and epithelial cells are closely packed and form continuous layers. The materials that enter inside the body has to pass through epithelial cells initially, and cells of epithelial tissue have underlying fibrous membrane. There is a fibrous membrane between the epithelial tissue and underlying tissue. For example, epithelial tissues from skin, mucous layer of the mouth cavity, inner surface of blood vessels, walls of the alveoli, etc. Students, now let's learn about the types of epithelial tissue. So the first type of epithelial tissue is squamous epithelium. Now squamous epithelium is located in the inner surfaces of mouth esophagus, blood vessels and alveoli. And the structure of squamous epithelium is thin, small, flat cells forming semi-permeable membrane. And the function is it selectively transport the substances. Tissue is stratified epithelium. Stratified epithelium is located at the outer layer of the skin, and the structure of the stratified epithelium is it's having multiple layers of cells, and the function is to prevent wear and tear and thereby protecting the organs. Students, now the third type of epithelial tissue is glandular epithelium. Glandular epithelium is located in the inner layer of skin, and the cells of glandular epithelium contain vesicles packed with secretory material. These are glandular secretions, and the function is secretion of digestive juice and absorption of nutrients. Now students, the fourth type of epithelial tissue is columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium is located in the inner surface or mucosal layer of intestine and an alimentary canal. And the structure of columnar epithelium is like you can see column-like tall cells having folds on the upper free surface which are useful for absorption, and the function is to secrete digestive juice, that is secretion of digestive juice, and absorption of nutrients. Now, the fifth type of epithelial tissue is ciliated epithelium. Ciliated epithelium is located in the inner surface of respiratory tract, and the structure of ciliated epithelium is like upper free surface of cell which possesses minute hair-like processes called cilia, and the function is it causes movements due to cilia and push mucus and air forward to keep the air passage free. Students, now the sixth type of epithelial tissue is cuboidal epithelium. Now, cuboidal epithelium is located in the tubules of kidney, that is nephron, and in salivary gland. And the structure of cuboidal epithelium is, you can see the cells in the cuboid shape, and the function is like reabsorption of useful material from urine in kidneys, and it is also used for the secretion of saliva in salivary glands. Now let's learn about connective tissue. Now students, blood transports a substance in the body and it consists of plasma and blood cells. It is a type of connective tissue. Now the tissues which join different parts of the body are called connective tissues. And connective tissue cells are loosely arranged. There is ground substance in the free spaces in between the cells, and the ground substance is solid, liquid or jelly-like in different types of connective tissues. Now let's learn about the different types of connective tissues. Now students, the first subtype of connective tissue is blood. Now, blood is located in a closed circulatory system, and the structure of blood is like it consists of erythrocytes, leukocytes, and platelets in a liquid plasma. And the function of the blood is to transport of oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and nitrogenous waste products. Students, now the second subtype of connective tissue is lymph. Lymph is located all around the cells in the body, and the structure of lymph is fluid oozed out of blood capillaries, and it contains leukocytes and liquid ground substance. And the function of lymph is to protect the body from infections. Now students, the third subtype of connective tissue is areolar tissue. Now, areolar tissue is located between the skin and muscles and around the blood vessels. And the structure is different types of cells are found which are loosely arranged, and they are supported by a jelly-like ground substance and have elastic fiber. And the function of areolar tissue is to support internal organs. Now, the fourth type of connective tissue, the subtype of connective tissue is adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is located below the skin and around the internal organs. And the structure of adipose tissue is that cells are filled with fat droplets, jelly-like ground substance. And the function of adipose tissue is insulation, its supply energy, that is supply of energy, and storage of fats. Now the next subtype of connective tissue is cartilage. Cartilage is located in nose, ear, larynx and trachea. And the structure of cartilage is that cells are supported by fibrous, flexible, jelly-like ground substance, and the function of cartilage is that it lubricates the surfaces of bones, gives support and shape to organs. Tissue is bones. Bones are located in the skeleton. Now, skeleton is a specific structure extending throughout the body. And the structure of bones is that osteocytes are embedded in solid ground substance which are made up of calcium phosphate, and the function of bones is that it supports and protects different organs and also helps in the movement. Now the next subtype of connective tissue is tendons and ligaments. Now, the tendons and ligaments are located at the joints, and the structure of tendons is that it is fibrous, strong and less elastic, and ligaments are strong and highly flexible. And the function of tendons is that they join muscles to the bones, and ligaments join two bones to each other. So students, this was the end of module 1. Now let us summarize what we have studied in this module. Now we studied that in unicellular organisms, all the necessary functions are carried out by a single cell. And in multicellular organisms, the cells performing similar functions come together in group and form tissues. And a group of cells having the same origin, same structure and same function is called tissue. And due to specific organization of cells and their division of work, the functions of the body are done with great efficiency. And tissues are made up of only one type of cells and are called as simple tissues. And the tissues consisting of more than one type of cells are called as complex tissues. And animal tissues are of four types, that is epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. And these tissues form various organs of the body, and the functioning of each of these organs is as per the tissue that it contains. Epithelial tissue form the protective covering in animal bodies which are closely packed and form continuous layers. And cells of epithelial tissue have underlying fibrous membrane. There is a fibrous membrane between the epithelial tissue and underlying tissue. And squamous epithelium is made up of thin, small, flat cells forming semi-permeable membrane. And stratified epithelium is made up of multiple layer of cells. Glandular epithelium is made up of cell containing vesicles packed with secretory material. And columnar epithelium is made up of column-like tall cells having folds on the upper free surface which are useful for absorption. And ciliated epithelium is made up of upper surface of cells possess minute hair-like process called cilia. And cuboidal epithelium is made up of cuboidal cells. Then we also studied about the connective tissue. So the tissue which join different parts of the body are called connective tissues. And the connective tissue cells are loosely arranged. There is ground substance in the free spaces in between the cells. Blood is made up of erythrocytes, leukocytes and platelets in a liquid plasma. And lymph is made up of liquid fluid oozed out of blood capillaries containing leukocytes and liquid ground substance. And areolar tissue is made up of different types of cells which are loosely arranged and supported by a jelly-like ground substance and elastic fibers. And adipose tissue is made up of cells which are filled with fat droplets, jelly-like ground substance. And cartilage is made up of cells supported by fibrous, flexible jelly-like ground substance. Bones are made up of osteocytes embedded in solid ground substance made up of calcium phosphate. And tendons are fibrous, strong and less elastic which are and also located at the joints. And ligaments are strong and highly flexible located at the join. Thank you, dear students. I will be back with module 2. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.